Welcome to the Nomad Network, your first stop for complete and comprehensive Chicago Bears football coverage. Dive deep into analyses, updates, and all things Bears. Subscribe to our YouTube channel today and never miss a beat. Thank you in advance for your support. We promise to bring you the best because together we're unstoppable. Go Bears!
Yo, no maniacs. Welcome into another edition of Feed the Bears, where I do my job to feed you, the Bears, the best content we can possibly give you. And today, I kind of fretted doing this podcast because I knew it was going to be kind of a light news day and a light practice, and that's exactly what it was. It was shells only and mostly half-speed stuff from what I'm getting. When it's a shells practice right before a major scrimmage, you don't expect them to be a whole lot of stuff going on out there. They ain't gonna be doing a bunch of hitting, and nothing really significant happened out there today. It's just a lot of walkthroughs, 11-on-11 periods, shuffling guys in and out of first team, second team reps. A lot of that going on. I got a few little nuggets to talk about, but we'll get into them this here and seeing. I don't see anybody in the chat yet, and so just kind of getting back here from last night's show, which was a cool one. I had a good time talking about that stuff, man. It was a long show, but man, the content was good. And I liked the variety of the conversation that we had last night. It's fun to me. I love doing Bears content. I love talking about football, but people should know that each one of us that are a part of this channel and part of this network, we have different levels to us, different things that we like to talk about. And so we built some extra sauce with that in mind to give us a platform to be able to talk about not only Bears, but other things, current events in the news or whatever's going on in the world. We built that platform to be able to do that. So I do appreciate everybody that was there. Definitely appreciate the new subscribers to the channel, because we will continue to do, conversations about UFOs and alien contact. Who doesn't like talking about that stuff? So we will definitely do some more of that. And, who knows what happens after that, but the response was real. People were, people are interested to know what that's all about. That's a big story in the news. It's all over the algorithm. A lot of people are talking about that. So we're going to keep an eye on it. And in the near future, definitely going to do some more content in relation to it, just to keep people up to date about how that storyline is going. But thank you all for being here. I see about 15 people coming in so far. So as people start to trickle in, I'll start reading off a couple of notes here, man. So one of the things that came out of yesterday that kind of got a lot of people concerned, myself included, and everybody else, was the fact that Cole Kmet left practice early and with some kind of injury. I don't know if it was with trainers or he walked off on his own power. I don't know exactly how it went, but it started to alarm people because right after that happened, we cut a tight end that was on the roster with a injury designation. Probably gave him a little money and, let him go. But they ended up signing a guy right after that. So immediately most people started to think, maybe something serious is going on with Cole Kmet. Not to be. He was at practice today, moving around very well. I've seen a few videos of him. Cole Kmet looks really good, man. This guy, one thing you can say about Cole Kmet, people might have different things to say about him, different complaints, different criticisms about him. Let me tell you something. Cole Kmet is like Iron Man, man. He's just available all the time. Let me knock on wood right now. Don't want to jinx him, but he came back out there, is moving well, man. I seen him doing everything everybody else is doing, first team reps. And so not to worry about Cole Kmet. He's looking good out there, you guys. Let me get to a couple people that just busted up in the chat. Timothy Bazemore, thank you for coming in here, my guy. He said, my brother Nomad, blessings to you and your family. Thank you so much. Same to you and yours, bro. Same to you and yours. What up, Smitty Q? All right, so we got that out the way. Cole Kmet's not a problem. Here's the news notes that everybody wants to hear about. Who, since the depth chart came out, which we covered that last night, kind of pretty pretty thoroughly last night. We covered that depth chart. And I guess it was a surprise to a lot of people, not myself, that Braxton Jones ended up being on the leaderboard at left tackle. And, we had a lot to say about that last night. So a lot of people had comments. It was a good conversation. I'm of the mindset of this. I don't care who wins that job. What I care about is putting the best 5 on the field. That's all I care about. I don't care anything about, okay, Braxton Jones is going to be a free agent in this offseason. We want to see if we can move him and get some compensation for him. What if we don't do that at all? What if we know that Braxton Jones on this team gives us significant depth that we're probably going to need this year? What about that? And so we got kind of into a back and forth last night, me, Trips, and Kids, about reasonings. They always find reasons financially as it's almost like some Bears fans they're in this perpetual rebuilding mode, in that mindset. Like we always need to be trying to get something from this. No, this season is what matters. And if Braxton Jones being on this team makes us significantly better, then why in the hell would you trade him right now? If you don't get something from the off season, so be it. So be it. If you can sign him, that'd be great. But if you can't, you got to let him go. You got to let him go. But right now, I know for a fact Braxton Jones is going to keep us a little bit better. We got a little bit of depth, which is something I haven't been able to say in a long time, especially at the tackle position. We just haven't had depth. We've got this guy here, this Band-Aid guy there, and it's kind of depressing, having to go year in and year out, and we're not even a fully functioning high-level offensive line. I'm talking about since I've been a podcaster, and that's going on 3 years now. And so that's been demoralizing to me. Now, finally, we get a little bit of significant depth. Everybody's talking about what we can get for him in a trade. Man, I want to hear that. I want this team to be good now. And if that team is good with Braxton Jones on it, keep him here. Those are my thoughts. And that's my thoughts about that. So Braxton Jones did do first team reps again today, 11 on 11s. Ozzie Trapillo, they kind of rotated in and out. There's different times, different lineups. Even also Luke Newman took first team reps for Joe Tooney on the left side, left guard. And so I thought that was significant. That kind of tells me a little bit of what the plan might be for tomorrow, and that's to give him significant reps at left guard. I don't know whether it's going to be, not tomorrow, but in this preseason game. Who knows? We're going to talk towards the end of this about how many reps are good for first team offense and defense. We'll have a conversation about that. But Luke Newman, I think they're teeing him up to spend some significant time at left guard, whether it be in this joint practice session, which they probably will, and also during that preseason game. They just want to get a good, solid look at him. They've been looking at him all camp. They must like what they see. A guy like that, a rookie like that, you gotta get him sprinkled in there. 2s against 2s. I put out a short about this yesterday. Anytime you got backup players and you're really trying to give a true evaluation of what that player can bring to the table, I don't know how you do that without giving them significant reps with the ones. 2s on 2s is just 2s on 2s, man. That's not going to get too many people better out there. Those 2s and those 3s get better when they get significant reps against 1s. And so I'm looking at Grady Jarrett right now coming on my TV. I can't hear a word he's saying. He's at the presser. And I know a lot of people are in that presser right now, and they're not in the show. But, Luke Newman was significant. That was a significant note, him getting first team reps at left guard. I do not know. I haven't heard a word about Joe Tooney. I don't think he's injured whatsoever. I believe he's at practice. I think this is something intentional. They're just trying to get him prepared for either joint practices or both joint practices and the preseason game. So it's good news to hear from me. Shout out to Mike, just busted up in here. All right, let me get to some more notes I got here. Cal Malunga, again, taking second team reps. Now, I did hear that Roschon Johnson was not at practice today. I heard it from one reporter. I hadn't heard it from another one. It was noticeable to one reporter that Roschon wasn't out there. Cal Malunga is taking the second team reps. Don't know what that's all about, but it's noteworthy. So I had to make sure I mentioned that. Don't know. All I know is Roshan Johnson, after that physical practice, went to, I know they had had a little fight or something. They had to go to the ground. Him and I think it was what's his name? Jonathan Owens, I think it was, that he got into a fight with, a little skirmish. They went to the ground. Who knows, man? He might be just sore, and they decided to leave him in the inside the facility, cold bath and all that kind of stuff. So, just probably trying to take care of him. I wouldn't read too much into the fact that he wasn't at practice today, because there was a couple of people that left too. We'll get to that right now. Again, Montez Sweat, again, in shells, it doesn't mean a whole lot. You know what I mean? You might see stuff online, maybe on social media, talking about, this offensive tackle got beat, that offensive tackle got beat. It doesn't matter at all when they're in shells. None of that stuff matters. It's not necessarily football. And they're just doing like half-speed stuff in the first place. I'm pretty sure there was a period where they told them to ramp it up a little bit, go full speed, but it's still nothing you can really take from that, especially when it comes to an offensive lineman. You just really can't take a whole lot from that because they're in shell. So I wouldn't pay a whole lot of attention to anything anybody's talking about as far as that goes. Just saying. Montez Sweat, again, is tearing it up out there every single day in practice. I don't care whether it's shells, whether it's full go, live action. Montez Sweat is showing that, I just think, in my opinion, man, I haven't seen like years and years of Montez Sweat in training camp. So I can't tell you, we don't really know what Montez Sweat full go looks like in camp. I think I want to say this is his first full camp. I might be mistaken, but I think this is his first full camp. And I think what Dennis Allen is bringing to the table and how he's kind of pressuring all of his key players and not really, pressing the brakes on his veteran guys. He's expecting these guys to play well, man. You're an all-star caliber football player. You're $100 million man. We expect you to be that on the field. Show me that you're one of the top tier edge rushers in this league. And I think he's poised himself to have a breakout season for Chicago. He had a pretty good half a season after the trade deadline when we got him, and everybody just loved it. And then somewhere in that second year, he got dinged up. I would say about a quarter way through the season, and he just wasn't the same player throughout. And so, hold on a second. My girlfriend's in the kitchen grabbing. She just came out of the garden with a whole bunch of vegetables. There's a lot of vegetables in that bag. But anyway, yeah, I would just say, watch out for Montez Sweat this season. I think he's going to have a year on you, man. I mean, a serious year on us. Let me get to also, here's a couple of injury notes. Don't know how significant any of it is. But Kyler Gordon and also Darnell Wright left the field early, left practice early with trainers. A couple of reporters pointed it out, especially about Darnell. He said he came up awkwardly or went down awkwardly and came up with a gimp, and they left. Reporters are saying keep note of this, keep track of this, because who knows what this is. Hopefully, knocking on wood, neither one of them miss any significant time, because we definitely need both of them, those key guys, man. So Darnell Wright and Kyler Gordon left practice early with the trainers. So let me read a comment here. My guy Mike says confidence and compliment with upgrades on the line. He will shine. No question about it. Another thing, I keep saying this, and I'm kind of getting tired of saying it. It's some people in the fan base, I would just say, that really don't really understand a whole lot of anything but what they see in the stat box. They run and jump to conclusions about things that really is aggravating, especially when you played and it functions differently in real time and in real life. Keep hearing this stuff about, we don't have a proper pass rush. We don't have guys that had multiple sacks. Talking about Dial, he's a single-digit sack guy. I'm going to tell you something, and I've said this too many times to count, but I got to say it again. That shit doesn't mean anything in a certain kind of system. Why do I say that? It's because you're not going to be wholly dependent on those two edge rushers, whoever they are, whether it's Dio, Montez, whoever those two edge rushers are. You're not going to be wholly dependent on the amount of sacks that you get during the season or the amount of pressures that you get during the season or during games. You're not going to be wholly dependent on those two individual players. This scheme is much different. It's the simulated pressure that you guys should pay attention to. And it's going to be from everywhere. Safeties, cornerbacks, linebackers. And I said this before, I'll say this again. Don't be surprised if halfway through the season that the edge rushers aren't leading in sacks. It's the linebackers, it's the slot corner, it's the safeties. Those guys are going to get to the quarterback. They're going to apply pressure to the quarterback too, rush the passer, and it's going to affect the game. So who cares if the edge rushers aren't getting a whole lot of sacks? That's not really any measurement to me. The measurement is, are they getting pressure? How are they getting pressure? Is it working? Or is it simulated pressures? Are they getting home? Is the interior pass rush helping the edge rushers? All that kind of stuff plays in unison to any of those people that want to, judge how good a player is based on box numbers. Shit doesn't make sense. And I'm just getting tired of hearing people say that. It's just like, tell me how much you don't know about football. But I keep repeating that shit. Because I can tell you exactly what it is, and you don't know shit. And I hate to keep saying that, but man, I get tired of hearing that. I was listening to a podcast of the day. Well, not a podcast, but one of the reporters, and it just kind of irritated me. So excuse me for having a little airing out a little bit. But shout out to Calvin C, who just busted up in this piece. All right, let me see what else I got here. I don't have a whole lot, you guys, but I did come here to talk a little bit of football. We talked about Kyler, Darnell. Sounds like the offense, and again, this is shells. This is not full go, and there's no real way to judge how well an offense or defense look. But, it sounded like they operated pretty cleanly today, in and out of the huddle at the line of scrimmage, minimal amounts of procedural penalties and things like that. And that's always welcome to hear, man, because to me, and I'm trying to impress on you all, the people that come to this channel and support this channel, what we can tell you all for a fact is how much and how well the offense functions in the procedural stuff pre-snap is going to make all the difference in the world on how much success this team has. If they can operate cleanly, I'm talking about Caleb Williams getting in the huddle, getting that playoff, getting to the line of scrimmage with enough time. I don't know how many times I've said this. That's going to make or break how well of a season he has. And so he's working on that, trying to, remember all the verbiage in the play calls and know all the shifts and the hot reads that comes with that kind of stuff. And he's trying to, just trying to function, man. It's all new stuff. It's all new stuff. So it sounded like they functioned pretty cleanly today. You just want to keep hearing that, man. As the training camp goes on week to week, you want to hear that, okay, he's starting to really, really stack good days of that part of the operations, pre-snap stuff, getting in and out of the huddle, getting to the line of scrimmage with a little extra time on the clock so you can operate. And so it's good to hear that. I just want to continue to hear that throughout the rest of this training camp, which is what you expect. Let me see. Andre Bryan says stats is how people, including GMs, judge players, sadly. I get that part of it, Andre. Truly, I do. Depending on how much a guy gets paid, you can make a case, and agents will make the case. Let's just say Dio Odingbo made in the last couple of years somewhere around 30 sacks in the last 2 years. He'd have came in here at a whole lot different price than we got him at. He's making good money, but the price would have definitely been up, and I don't know if we could have afforded that guy. But, I definitely get what you're saying. I just think that depending on what kind of the system that you're in and how that system functions is going to determine what your stat box numbers look like in the end anyway. And so when you're playing on a team like this one that seems to take pride in pressuring the quarterback and pressuring them real fast with simulated stuff from safeties, cornerbacks, and linebackers, that's going to definitely minimize how many true sacks that you get as an edge rusher. And so let's just say 3 years from now, when Dio Odingbo goes back to the table for more money and his sack numbers aren't exactly what people would expect, there's a reason for that. And that's all I'm doing is explaining the reasons why some people's sack numbers look the way they do. It's not always that particular player. Sometimes it's the system that they play in. Shout out to Crimson. My guy, Kenny Adams, just busted up in here. Shout out to you guys. All right, let's get to this joint practice. Now, I'm up in the air about how to go about this tomorrow. So the joint practice is at 10:30 tomorrow. I'm wondering, should I go live and get on Twitter and just kind of see how the play-by-play goes and the blow-by-blow? Because I don't think we're going to be getting any kind of, like, that's the only way we're going to find out what's going on out there is you probably got to get on social media, probably got to get on Twitter. And I'm just wondering, should I do that live or should I just wait to after practice and give a summary? I'm just debating to myself. Crimson wants me to go live at 10:30, huh? All right. If that's how y'all want it, I could probably do that. I'll probably just go live and just juice up with the coffee and go live. We'll see. I'll just say pencil us in for a live show and while practice is live so we can kind of give you guys a blow by blow. It kind of get me a little bit prepared for the in-game analysis we do in live games, kind of get me back ready for that. So maybe we'll do that. Crimson says, I got a Fins fan that I work with. I love to have the deets before him on XD. Yeah, man. Let's shoot for that, man. Let's try to shoot for that. It's going to be like this. It goes off kind of off schedule for me, man, because everybody has their routines. It's shit that I have to do in the morning that we'll see, man. But I can make provisions, bro. I can make provisions. Mike says he's a big fan of joint practices, very beneficial, more than games. And that brings me to the part that I want to talk about now. I'm glad you mentioned that, Mike, because the biggest question, I think, at this point in camp, going into the first preseason game, a lot of people are, just really curious about how many reps are good enough reps for a new offense, young quarterback, new defense, new scheme coordinator, all that kind of stuff. And really, my answer to that is, first of all, it starts with the coaches knowing their team, understanding where their guys are, whether it's, and you have to be honest with yourself. You can't just assume that everything is going to be all right. If we, like say, for instance, offensively, if you feel like Caleb Williams isn't exactly where we expect him to be, and I'm wondering if he's up to speed where he needs to be, then if that's the case, if you privately or openly with your coaches when you're in meetings and you feel like, okay, the operations just aren't clean enough consistently, man, I think this guy needs a lot of reps. You got to trust yourself there and give him as many reps as you can give him in the preseason. Now, this joint practice, put that to the side for a second, because more times than not, the way they'll operate that joint practice is they'll treat that kind of like the preseason game, because they play the preseason game right afterwards. And so, a lot of the first team reps and for the starters are going to happen in that joint practice. I don't know how much of that is going to translate to the preseason game that they have. I don't know. But if it's me, just personally, I want Caleb Williams to get as many live reps against another unit as I can possibly get him going into this season. And that's just the way I would do it. It's not because you want to put pressure on the guy. It's because you want to make sure he's where he needs to be. That's what you're trying to figure out. Can we get him up to speed come game one? That's what you're trying to figure out. And so, in my opinion, if they privately, whatever they're, going through privately, they just have to trust themselves and each other and be honest with each other and say, hey, is this smart for us right now? Playing this first team, let's just say the first preseason game, you give them a quarter and a half, 2 quarters. I don't know, maybe a quarter and a half or something like that. That's just, to me, it's going to be good work for the offense because they need the gel. So we'll see, man. I think that's the biggest question most people have right about now is how much to play these guys in the preseason. This joint practice is going to probably tell us a lot, you guys, and it wouldn't be surprising to me that after this joint practice and after that preseason game, those will be your first kind of cuts. We're going to find out some stuff after those games. You're going to see a lot of guys. The second teamers is what I'm going to be really paying attention to. Guys like Kyle Monunga. The rookies are going to get a lot of spin. Luther Burden, that guy J.P. Richardson. I'm going to be curious about how they look live on the field while Caleb Williams is at the podium right now. But I'm curious to see what these other guys look like. It's not that I don't want to see the starters, but I'm curious to see what these young rookies look like and you're going to find out who's got some kind of symmetry in practice between the second quarterback, the third quarterback, the second group of receivers, the third group of receivers, the second running back, the third running back. You're going to find out exactly where we are. And through that, also, I would mention, and I firmly believe this, I think if we're going to find out what kind of running back room we have. That's what we're going to find out in this joint practice and in this first preseason game. If it's not going as well as the team expects it to go, don't be surprised if you hear about a move possibly being made to acquire some running back. How they get this running back, where they get this running back from, I have no idea. It could be a couple of guys on the free agent market. Could be guys that they may be able to acquire in a trade. Who knows? But if they ain't comfortable with the depth of that running back room, I expect the move to be made quickly after this joint practice in that first preseason game. But we shall see. We shall see. Let me see. Shout out to the King, just busted up in here. The King up in this thing. Shout out to Liberty's Outlook. But yeah, that's mostly what I had today. Just another thing before I get out of here. Dennis Allen, he a lot of people are questioning, does Booker fit into the scheme? And his size and weight being a little bit undersized was they asked Dennis Allen about that today at the presser, and he likes the guy. I can tell he likes the guy, but he's looking for a little bit more consistency with it. One of the things that he pointed out is setting the edge better. You know what I mean? Just kind of presetting, and he just wants to see consistency. He likes what this guy looks like, and he praised him about how strong he is and how good of a tool set he has as a pass rusher. But he's trying to get some consistency with setting that edge and his technique and his fundamentals with doing that, because that is important to what we do. It ain't all about rushing the passer and getting sacks. It's about also the other parts of the game, and that is setting the edge on runs, being able to get yourself in the right position when the screen comes your way, all that kind of stuff. When the quarterback rolls your way, how do you play that? Do you run in there and go straight at him, or do you kind of play your space and kind of mirror him until he makes, he breaks the line of scrimmage, and then you can go after him. Little things like that coaches have to, you gotta get players up to that kind of speed. It might look a little funky at times with a guy like that, but you can tell that he likes this guy. He's just looking for some more consistency. He's going to be heavy in this rotation, and I do believe that Austin Booker he's going to become a much better football player because Dennis Allen is here. And that staff on the defensive side of the ball is there. I think he's going to become a much better player because of it. So that's one of the things I heard, and that's pretty much it, man. I'm sorry we got to be so short today, man, because it's just a light practice, guys. It wasn't nothing a whole lot to talk about. I think I covered pretty much everything. So stay tuned. I'm gonna wait a little while and think about it, Crimson, and maybe we will do a live in-game blow-by-blow of the joint practice. It's kind of like an in-game, so maybe we'll do that and go live for that show, man. We'll see what happens, but I know everybody wants to know how that practice is going, and I'm here to try to help make sure that you guys get that information. So we're gonna knock that out, man. We're gonna figure that out. And so be looking for make sure you hit your thumbnail, your notification bell, man. Make sure you hit that, and you'll know exactly what time that show is gonna come on. So make sure you hit that like button. Anybody that's listening, watching, and you haven't subscribed to the channel, we would encourage you to do so, man. We appreciate your support, but I got to get out of here and leave you with these famous words. If you can think it and you can see it, there's no reason in the world why you cannot absolutely manifest it. Do not, and I repeat, do not be a prisoner of your own mind. But with that being said, I am